Hey everyone, Alex back again with another video. This time is a contest entry slash thread response to Low Noise Jason Skillz, I believe is his channel name. He recently hit 800 subscribers, which is a great milestone here in the vinyl community. I've been stuck at 300 and something for a long time. So it's always good when someone else in the vinyl community though reaches a milestone. I'm always there to support channel, especially a new channel to me. Yeah, I discovered him through this thread response, mainly through Brandon over at Mr. Hall of Fame. He responded to this, and that's what got my attention for this one. So the idea is to talk about your favourite gigs that you've been to. He says no less than 5, no more than 15. I've got 7 that I can talk about because I have 7 albums by 7 different artists or bands I've seen. And then I'm going to, because I like nice round numbers, I've got 3 bucket list bands and artists, as I call them, like bands I'd love to see at some point in the future, hopefully. So yeah, let's get on with this. The first one that I'm going to talk about, I'm actually wearing the t-shirt, I don't know if you can see that, Alt J. This is an awesome wave. Their 2012 album, I think. I wasn't on this tour, I was on their, I think it was Relaxer or Relayer tour. Basically I went to Leeds to see them, and while I was there I actually visited my gran because I didn't get to see her earlier that year because I wasn't allowed time off from work. And so because I'd already booked it off for the gig, I was like, yeah, I'll just go and see my gran while I'm here in town. Yeah, really awesome live concert. Their visuals were amazing, they sounded good, and funny thing happened at the gig. They got to the last song of the night and they got halfway through that song and stopped out of nowhere, and they realised they were playing in the complete wrong key the whole time, so they had to start the song from the beginning. I didn't have to, I think they wanted to. But yeah, no, really good band, sounding band live, really good online, and yeah, just great visuals. Awesome band to see live if you ever get that opportunity. Alt J. Unfortunately, it's the only album I own by them, so that's the only one I could show you. But it's a good one to show. It's definitely my favourite by them. Next up, this is the only band I've ever seen twice. That's Vancouver Sleep Clinic. They're a very undercover, I'd say undiscovered kind of indie rock band. They're a bit more mellow, a bit more chilled, and they don't do a whole lot of stuff on vinyl. In fact, I think this album now is fetching for a hell of a lot of money. But yeah, they are the only band I've seen twice. They do very intimate gigs. Both times I've seen them, they've come out into the crowd, just the lead singer, and he's brought his guitarist with an acoustic guitar, and they came out in the crowd, performed a couple of songs, and I actually got to meet them both times I saw them. First time was in Hackney in, I think, 2018 or 2017. I think it was 2017. And the second time was in 2019. I do not remember what venue it was, which I probably should have looked it up before. But I remember the second gig because I went to shop for records in Islington, which is just down the road. So yeah, very good band. The only one I've seen twice, as I said. Australian band, despite what the name says, I talk about them a lot on the channel. Yeah, it's a really good intimate gig and they sound incredible live. Their gigs don't last very long, I think they last just over an hour. but they're incredible. Anderson .Paak. This is Malibu. I was on his Oxnard tour. No, I was on his Ventura tour in 2019. It was at Alexandra Palace, and it was a really good gig. I can't remember who opened for him, who warm up, but he did have his backing band, the Free Nationals, with him for this one. And I remember it specifically because in the lobby while we were waiting to go in, because we got there about an hour early, there was a DJ out in the lobby DJing a hip hop set. It was only with Serato, right? And it wasn't vinyl or anything, but really good DJ actually. I thought the guy was really talented. But yeah, here's I went to see Anderson .Paak. That was a really good gig. Yeah, actually I think it was 2018. Terrible at this, apologies guys. But yeah, no, Anderson .Paak, I went to see him because obviously you guys probably know Malibu is one of my top 10 favourite albums. Had to go see him when the opportunity arose, and Alexandra Palace is one of my favourite venues, so. Okay, moving on. Schoolboy Q, seen him live. This was the first gig I think I went to after meeting my now wife, Jenny.
You look like you didn't know what to call me then.
Well, because you were my girlfriend at the time, weren't you?
But I'm your wife now.
My wife now, yeah. But you weren't at the time, you were just my girlfriend. We'd not long been together, but I'd already bought the tickets to see Schoolboy Q. This was in January of 2020, this gig. And he had J-Rock supporting him, another rapper on the Top Dog Entertainment label. So it wasn't for this album's tour, it was for, I think the album was called Crash from 2019. I think it was that tour that I went and saw him on. But this is definitely my favourite Schoolboy Q album. Funny enough, Jenny also bought me this as well. So yeah, fun little fact there for you. And speaking of my wife Jenny, here's the only band that we have seen together. The 1975. Obviously wasn't on this tour, it was on their Notes on a Conditional Form tour. That album came out in 2020 and we went to see them in the February of 2020. Oh.
That was the tour we went to see.
No, because this album came out in 2013, so it couldn't have been that tour.
Oh, okay. Why did it have that light?
Because that's like their logo type thing.
Oh,
Every
okay.
time they performed a song off this album, that would pop up on the stage. But yeah, really good live show. They sounded great. They had great visuals. I had a great time. I can't say the same for Jenny, whether she had a good time or not. But yeah, I managed to get free tickets for the 1975 through the industry. So I'm one of my proud moments there. And I actually think Jenny likes the lead singer's mum more than the band themselves at this point.
Do, yeah.
But yeah, that was a really good gig, really good sound, really good lighting, and the opening band, were they called Biba Doobie, I think, something like that. An all Asian ensemble band. Matt Healy, the lead singer, he's got a real obsession with like assigning Asian associated bands or artists to the Dirty Hit label. So he had one of those bands touring with him, as you would when you own a record label. You just bring your own bands with you. So yeah, that was the 1975. Really good concert. In my top 3 for sure. None of these have been in any particular order, except my number 1. I always say it's my number 1 gig, and I'll get to that in a minute. But this band is also in my top 3 favourite concerts, and that's the Arctic Monkeys. I saw them in 2018 on their Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino tour. So I wish I saw them on this tour, honestly. This is my discovery to them. And honestly, I only saw them by luck. I managed to get a ticket the day before the gig because someone who had a spare ticket came into the shop I worked at the time and said, I've got a spare ticket for sale. Do you know anyone that wants it? I was like, yes, me. And so I went up the next day. He said the show's tomorrow. I was like, yeah, that's fine. So I went up the next day and saw Arctic Monkeys I was like right next to the stage. It was really, really good experience for me. They sounded great. Again, they had good visuals. And I genuinely believe if that one guy hadn't come in by chance that he had a spare ticket, I probably still wouldn't have seen the Arctic Monkeys to this day. So I'm grateful that I managed to see them live. Fantastic band. They are my favourite band, so of course I've got to see them live at some point in my life. But no gig that I have been to so far has ever topped this one, and I don't know if any gig I'll go to in the future will ever top this one, because it was just such a fun weekend. That's why I made a weekend out of this gig. That's Stevie Wonder. He is, out of all of these artists, he's probably the one I talk about the most on this channel. He is definitely my favourite artist. He had Lionel Richie supporting him. It was Hyde Park. I think it was 6th of June 2019 is when I saw Stevie Wonder. I think that's the exact date. He had Corinne Bailey Rae also supporting him. I didn't care too much for her. And I'm gutted that I missed one of my favourite DJs because he was the first act on. And by the time I managed to get through the queue and get to the main stage, his set had just finished. DJ Norman J, one of my favourite DJs. Unfortunately I missed his set, so still haven't seen him live. But I got to see Lionel Richie and Stevie Wonder back to back on the same day. And although Lionel was flying around the stage, he had 3 different outfit changes, and for a man of 70, that is really good. I don't know if he was 70 at the time, I can't remember. He was in his late 60s, but that's still great. A man in his late 60s, early 70s, flying about all over the stage, having 3 outfit changes, by the way.
You said.
Yeah. And then to have that followed up by Stevie Wonder, just really, really good gig. I mean, Lionel Richie, no one was really feeling the Lionel gig until he performed the Commodore stuff, which is a given. He even said on stage, he's like, if I'd known you guys had wanted Commodore stuff, I'd have opened with that stuff. But there it is. And Stevie comes on. There's a DJ in between Stevie and Lionel as a warm-up, and Stevie walks out to September by Earth, Wind and Fire, and then he starts performing. I think his set's about 2 hours, must be. But that is my favourite concert I've ever been to, and I don't know if any concert will ever top that, honestly. So yeah, they're the 7 gigs that I've been to that I'm going to talk about in this video. And I'll talk about my bucket list now. And actually one of these I almost went to go and see. And it was probably the one artist out of these 3 that if I could never go to any other gig again, like if I had to pick one gig and that was the only gig I went to for the rest of my life, it would definitely be this. And I had tickets. Me and my pool team at the time, some of us had tickets to go, and we'd arranged the whole weekend, we'd booked everything, and then COVID hit. And the gig it wasn't postponed, it was cancelled altogether, and this artist hasn't been over here ever since. I'm of course talking about Eminem. We had tickets to see him in Twickenham, I think it was June 2020, something like that. And unfortunately, when COVID hit, he cancelled the concert and he hasn't come over. I know he doesn't like touring, so it's not something I'm expecting anytime soon, but I'd like to see him at least once in my life. I've never had tickets before, had tickets to see him in Twickenham and got let down. So hopefully he comes over here again and I can get tickets, because I missed out to his Wembley Stadium show. Missed out to his O2 show, missed out to see him at Reading and things like that. Because they always sell out before I get a chance to get them. It was the closest I'd ever been. And I was so excited to go and finally see him.
What's meant to be, will do.
Yep. Didn't get to see him. Another artist I'd really like to see live at some point is Kendrick Lamar, another favourite rapper of mine. He's worked with Eminem as well, but I think he's a really talented rapper and puts on a great show. I've seen some of his live concerts on YouTube, and I think he does a really good job. What lets it down is I always miss out on tickets the first time around, and resale tickets for this guy are always 200 plus. And that's for the cheap seats. Hopefully one day I'll get to see him. And one more artist here, same thing. Tickets are always 200 plus by the time I get a chance to finally get in the queue to buy them, and they're for the cheap seats. It's The Weekend. I saw Jenny scrunch up her face. She has heard this album too many times for her liking, I'm sure. It was my favourite album of 2020. It was my most played album of 2020.
Let's just say 150 times is too much.
Probably more than that at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's when it got too much.
But yeah, The Weekend, I really would love to see him, but every time he comes over, tickets sell out, and then resale price $200 to $250, and that is, like I said, just for cheap seats. Hopefully one day, but there are 3 artists I one day hope to see, and then there's also the 7 that I'm glad I've seen. So with that all said and done, guys, thanks so much for tuning into this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please go and subscribe to Jason's channel. I'll leave it down in the description below. Follow me on Instagram, add me on Discogs, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys all again very soon. Bye.